So you've probably talked to a chatbot, right? We all have. But what if? What if the next step is an AI that doesn't just talk to you, but actually does things for you? That's what we're diving into today, the world of on-the-fly AI agents. This isn't just about answering questions anymore. We're talking about a huge leap towards dynamic, digital workers that can truly get things done. Let's get into it. Okay, so what's the big deal? What's the real difference? Well, think about it like this. A chatbot can give you the recipe for a cake. Super helpful, right? But an AI agent can actually bake the cake for you. See the shift? One produces text, the other produces a real-world outcome. It's a massive, massive leap from just describing a task to actually completing it. So, to really wrap our heads around this, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start by going beyond the chatbot. Then we'll look at the agent's execution loop, basically how it thinks. After that, we'll cover its core components, check out different architectures, and finally, we'll tackle the big one, the incredible power and the serious pitfalls. All right, let's kick things off with section 1. We're officially moving beyond the chatbot. This is all about shifting our thinking from just answering questions to actually achieving goals. And trust me, this is where it starts to get really, really cool. So when we say on-the-fly AI agent, what are we actually talking about? Well, this isn't about an AI just following a pre-written script. No way. This is an autonomous system. You give it a goal and it figures out how to get there, all by itself, adapting in real time. It's that ability to think on its feet, to create and change its own plan, that makes these agents a total game changer. Okay, but how does one of these agents actually, think? What's going on inside its head? That brings us to section 2. The agent's execution loop. You can think of this as its cognitive cycle, its brain, the engine that drives every single thought and action it takes. And here's that loop in a nutshell. It's a really elegant process. It all kicks off with a goal. From there, the agent makes a plan. Then it has to act on that plan. After it acts, it has to observe the result. And here's the crucial part. Based on what it observes, it will revise its plan. It's this constant cycle, plan, act, observe, revise, over and over until the goal is achieved. So let's dig into that plan step. This is where the magic really begins. An agent can take a really high-level goal you give it, something vague like, analyze market trends for me, and it breaks that down into a concrete step-by-step to-do list. Step 1, find the latest sales data. Step 2, extract the key figures. Step 3, run a statistical analysis. Step 4, write a summary report. It literally creates its own roadmap from scratch. And with a plan in hand, it's time to act. This is the moment the agent stops just thinking and starts doing. It's not just generating text anymore, it's selecting and executing the right tool for the job. Maybe that's making an API call, running some code, or querying a database. It's actually reaching out and interacting with the digital world. Now, this next part, observe and revise, is what separates a smart agent from a dumb script. It doesn't just blindly follow its own plan. It executes a step, then it looks at the output and asks itself, okay, did that work? Did I get what I expected? If the answer is no, or if it gets some new, unexpected information, it doesn't just fail. It goes back, updates the plan, and tries a different approach. That feedback loop is what makes it so incredibly adaptable. So what does an agent need to actually pull off this whole execution loop? Well, it needs a few core components, a kind of toolkit for autonomous action. And that's what we're jumping into right now in section 3. First up, and this is the big one, is reasoning. This is the job of the large language model, the LLM. You can think of the LLM as the agent's brain. It's the central command center that's making all the decisions, what action to take next, which tool is right for that action, and then how to make sense of whatever comes back. And if the LLM is the brain, then tool use is how the agent gets its hands dirty. Tools are what connect the agent's mind to the outside world. They're the bridge that lets it perceive things and, more importantly, affect things. Honestly, without tools, an agent is just a very smart chatbot. With tools, it can actually change things. And when we say tools, the sky is really the limit. We're talking about web search APIs, connecting to internal knowledge bases, digging through databases or spreadsheets, even running its own code in a sandbox environment. It can interact with your calendar, booking systems, pretty much any REST API you can think of. The general rule is if it can be controlled by code, an agent can probably use it as a tool. And the final core component is memory. This is absolutely critical. We've got short-term memory, which is all about keeping track of the current conversation, the context of what it's doing right now. But then there's long-term memory. This allows the agent to store information across different sessions, to learn from past interactions, and to get better over time. It means it doesn't have to start from square one every single time. Okay, so we have our core components: reasoning, tools, and memory. Now, how do we actually assemble them? That brings us to Section 4, Agent Architectures. Let's look at the blueprints for building these things. Broadly speaking, there are two main approaches. You have the single agent architecture, where one LLM is the jack of all trades. It handles everything. This is simpler and great for focus-specific jobs. But then you've got the multi-agent approach. This is more like building a team of specialists. You might have one agent that's a planner, another that's a coder, and a third that acts as a reviewer. It's more complex to set up, for sure, but it's way more robust for tackling really complicated problems. And if we look at the software stack, what's happening under the hood, it's usually built in layers. You've got the user input layer at the top, of course, then the reasoning and planning layer, which is our LLM, then a tool interface layer, a memory layer, but I want to call out two really important ones. The orchestration layer, which is like the project manager making sure all the other layers work together, and absolutely critical, the monitoring and safety layer, which acts as the guardrails. All right, that brings us to our final section: power and pitfalls. And this is arguably the most important conversation to have. We've seen all the incredible potential, all the amazing things these agents can do. But now we have to talk about the other side of the coin, the challenges and the very real risks. Because let's be honest, when you give an AI this much power, when it can actually act in the world and not just talk about it, what are the risks? What could go wrong? And these are some of the major technical hurdles developers are grappling with right now. Things like prompt injection attacks, where someone tricks the agent into doing something it shouldn't. We have to prevent it from performing harmful actions, obviously. We have to stop it from getting stuck in infinite or even destructive loops. This is why things like sandboxing and clear guardrails are non-negotiable. And above all, there has to be a mechanism for human oversight. And just to give you a glimpse of where this is all heading, one of the most advanced capabilities being worked on is self-improvement. We're talking about agents that can create their own new tools, refine their own workflows, and change their own strategies, all without a human stepping in. I mean, just think about that for a second. An agent that identifies a problem it can't solve, writes the code for a new tool to solve it, and then adds that tool to its own arsenal. It's mind-blowing, but it also dials up the need for responsibility to a whole new level. You know, there's a quote that I think sums this whole shift up perfectly. We're creating flexible digital workers rather than static software programs. That really hits the nail on the head. We're leaving behind the world of rigid, predictable code and entering an era of flexible, adaptive partners that can think and act. So I'll leave you with a question to chew on. If you had one of these autonomous AI agents at your command right now, what would be the first complex task you'd give it? Would you have it organize your entire life? Analyze a complex business problem? Plan the perfect vacation? The possibilities are pretty staggering. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.